Mineral Resources Minister Mosebenzi Zwane had to be escorted off stage in Middelburg, Mpumalanga. A group calling themselves Practical and Radical Economic Transformation disrupted Minister Zwane's imbizo on the amended mining charter. The group booed and hurled abuse at him and accused him of snubbing Premier David Mabuza. Minister Zwane's imbizo on the revised mining charter ended abruptly. The amended mining charter was gazetted last week. It expects mining firms to restructure their ownership to ensure they have 30% black ownership within 12 months. It will also require a 51% black shareholding in all new prospecting licenses. The Coega Development Corporation announced earlier this year that its investment projects worth more than R1 billion were ready for implementation in its industrial development zone. In January, CDC said it created 18,366 jobs in the past financial year, in addition to attracting billions of rands in new investment. In the past 8 years, it had created more than 80,000 jobs and was in line to increase the number. 2 years ago, CDC signed an R11 billion deal with the Chinese car maker Beijing Automobile International Corporation for completely knocked down automotive manufacturing plant and implementation of energy-related projects. Now, for more on this, I'm joined by CFO of the Coega Economic Zone, Lionel Billings. He joins us from our Port Elizabeth studio. Thanks so much for your time on SABC. Take us through what happens at the Special Economic Zone.
Good afternoon, Nonzinga. It's indeed a pleasure to be here. As you've correctly said, we've had very pleasing results, and the primary reason behind that, I believe, is because of us sticking to our knitting, knowing what we're good at, having put in place the enabling environment for investors. It's been stated by many of late, particularly the Vice President from China, the People's Republic of China, who indicated that indeed the Coega Special Economic Zone is one of the best he's come across in Africa. And therefore, I think I believe what has contributed to the favorable results was us having been determined to see through the mandate that was given to the Coega Development Corporation to put in place the enabling infrastructure, world-class, I may add, to attract the investors. And one of the primary reasons that the investors choose our location over and above anywhere else in the country or globally for that matter is the state of readiness that the CDC is displaying towards helping those investors to have a quick time to market.
The CDC has spent 36% of the money they made on small and medium enterprises. How important is it in order to stimulate the economy where you are to do this kind of thing?
That is vitally important. Appreciating the nature of the economy in the Eastern Cape and the level of growth, coupled with the large unemployment, supporting small and medium enterprises is critical to the success of the Eastern Cape and of the Nelson Mandela metropolitan area's well-being. So we make it a point through our small and medium enterprises unit to focus on assisting SMMEs from the very beginning when they come on board to submit tenders all the way through to providing mentoring, specifically construction expertise that will come alongside with these SMMEs to help them to ensure that we do not compromise on the quality of what we deliver to our investors and to our tenants within the Coega Economic Zone.
Now, the kind of numbers that we're seeing in the job creation that we've spoken about, the World Bank has also urged South Africa to have more zones such as the Coega Zone, Economic Zone. How feasible is it, and what will it do for our economy if this was possible?
It is indeed feasible, and government has already initiated a number across the country. The important thing, however, is that we must ensure that these economic zones don't compete against each other within the country, because it becomes a race to the bottom as investors will play us off against each other. So critical in the process of administering all these economic zones would be for government to ensure that there is specialization amongst the zones, that each of these zones would seek to attract specific industry sectors and we don't all compete against each other. But I do believe that it is indeed feasible with specialization and with a concentration of investors that would benefit one from the other.
I'm glad you've mentioned investors. Commentator Mzokolo Mpola said that South Africans need to move away from looking to foreign direct investment to stimulate our economy and look within. Is it possible with the kind of economic zones that you're speaking about to place less of an emphasis perhaps on foreign investment?
Indeed, it is possible, and it is how you structure those arrangements to ensure that local industry and local business benefit from those relationships. And what is perhaps a key to point out with many of the investors that located within the Coega Special Economic Zone is the fact that they have structured relationships with local partners. So we have a good blend of foreign investment together with local investment to ensure that local investors indeed do benefit as well. And, you know, organizations like the IDC indeed played a pivotal role in that area as well.
Lionel Billings, CFO of the Coega Economic Zone, thanks so much for your time on SABC News.